The feds found out what P. Diddy's been hiding for all of these years. They got all the surveillance footage and the documents. Once they found out what the TD Jake situation was about, then this is when they decided that they have to put a stop to everything, man. I want to send my condolences to Tupac, Cassie, Kim Porter, Heavy D, Craig Mack, like everybody that's been affected by the situation. They're finally about to get justice for all of the victims now. 50 Cent and Mike Tyson have been working on something to try to get the victims' movie and the documentary to come out, because the documentation that DJ Academics released from the New York prosecutors shows that Diddy had at least 10 different charges and 10 different victims step forward, and they was all saying the same type of story about how he wasn't treating them right, man. And this is an opportunity for them to get the justice. If you guys are supporting Tupac, Cassie, Kim Porter, and you want to get the justice for them, go ahead and comment 222, like the video, make sure you subscribe, because at the end of the day, this is all coming down to the karma of the situation. P. Diddy got caught red-handed. He thought after all these years he could get away with it, but the feds, they have a 99% success rate when they come and do that Bad Boys RICO, because they know the $1 million check came from P. Diddy and he wrote it with the Bad Boys name on it, because they were trying to give the dude a whole, like, the money, making it seem like it was a label they were starting and everything. They ended up figuring out exactly how they did it, because Keefe detailed exactly how it all went down so that he could get out of that trouble, and he passes that on to Diddy. He basically threw Diddy under the bus and cooperated with the authorities to make sure that he gets prosecuted to the fullest extent, because now they know that Tupac's mom and Tupac's brother have been advocating for many years, trying to get the case solved and find out exactly what happened. Now that they solved the Tupac case, it's basically to where now they have to figure out what's Diddy gonna do with, like, all the time that he's getting. Is he gonna end up telling on the next person or whatever? Because at the end of the day, y'all gotta realize that it all came crashing down and caught up to Diddy. He thought he could do way more than what he was getting away with, and he realized that at the end of the day, even if 20-30 years passed and all of the stuff that they did was in the 90s or early 2000s, is still wrong, and you shouldn't move around like how you think you got away with it, because these cases could be opened back up very fast. They have the technology to be able to figure out the footage and actually track down the witnesses from the Tupac scene, because there were people standing outside all over the place. Somebody had to have seen exactly what was happening, and the cherry on top, the icing on the cake, is the fact that Keefe said that he's known P. Diddy for a long time. They actually been friends and they talk back and forth to each other, so this could have been being planned for many months and weeks, and this is the reason why they followed Tupac and them down to watch the Mike Tyson fight. Mike Tyson and 50 Cent said that this whole entire thing was a setup. They tried to set Tupac up. It was something that P. Diddy thought that he basically was scared of Tupac for, because Tupac, he was really supposed to be the one that was bringing the community together, and had he still been around right now, Tupac would be the one that's the billionaire instead of P. Diddy. And this is what P. Diddy was scared of, because he realized once they started pushing the East Coast West Coast beef, it went way too far, and if Tupac gets a lot of people on his side and he ends up being successful like that, then he would go after Diddy. He would actually, Biggie Smalls and Tupac was supposed to, like, come together and squash the whole beef. They were supposed to do a peace treaty between the East Coast and the West Coast, but P. Diddy didn't want that to happen. This is when Gene Deal overheard him, like, actually trying to snake out Tupac and Biggie, because Biggie Smalls was signed to P. Diddy, but P. Diddy didn't even care. He said that he would still get him taken out the way if it meant that he's the one that gets to survive after all of this mess is, like, cleared up. And once they find everything, he was okay with basically getting Tupac and Biggie hit up. And this is the reason why all of that happened. It was a setup to begin with. The only person that had the type of money to put up the hit was somebody like Diddy. This is why 50 Cent's been working with all the victims, and basically he's the one that's been trying to help pay for their, like, expenses and bills so that they could get the justice for their sons, so for their daughter Kim Porter, for Tupac, for Biggie. Everybody knows that 50 Cent has been, like, trying to be with the victims because he doesn't like P. Diddy. P. Diddy and 50 Cent, they have some sort of beef with each other. They know that 50 Cent knows really the dirty secrets of what Diddy's been doing behind closed doors, and he's pretty much exposing him. He's making the movie, the documentary. He's been interviewing everybody, Sugeknight, Keefe. He's about to make the whole documentary of surviving P. Diddy because he's going to show everybody that 50 Cent is supposed to be the king in New York, and why does everybody like Diddy when he was treating people like this? Everything in 2024 that was done in the dark is going to come to light, man. And after all of these years, P. Diddy can't sit and hide and run and hide no more. He went overseas, he went to London, he went to a lot of different places, and he's been hiding out. But the feds, they could get wherever he's at, man, because they're going to find out that all the people that have been coming forward, the $30 million that Diddy had to pay, he's gonna have to keep dealing with that until the RICO from the Tupac and the Biggie situation is finished, because they still got Keefe locked up in that jailhouse and everything like that, and he don't want to have to sit for much longer. If they telling Keefe that he's gonna get life or 50 years or whatever, then he's gonna do what he's got to do to make sure that P. Diddy gets some of the trouble too, because he's not gonna be going down for all of this knowing that he's the one that was supposed to send the money for the hit, but he never got it. This is why he's coming out and he's speaking on everything. This is why Cassie and all of them are writing books, because they know that P. Diddy's time is over. A lot of the people that was around the Bad Boys camp, they all had their own experiences, and they was all coming together to do the tell-all books. Everybody that was about to do that all of a sudden had these issues start coming up. P. Diddy found out that these people were about to basically tell on him and what he's been doing this whole entire time. This is why all of the weird things have been happening to the people around Diddy. You gotta realize that this whole thing goes back to the fact that when Kim Porter passed and everything, send my condolences, RIP to Kim Porter. If you guys are rocking with Kim Porter, Tupac, and Biggie, put the 222s, like and subscribe, comment down below. Now, what's going on with this thing is that they already knew that Diddy had something to do with Kim Porter. They knew he had something to do with Biggie, and they knew he had something to do with Tupac, but they never had the exact proof and the evidence. So now that people from those situations who really were right there, like Keefe, they coming forward and they speaking out, and they basically giving up incriminated information that goes back on Diddy, and basically looks like he's about to get time for this. Everybody's sick and tired, and they sat back and say, you know what, Diddy's time is coming to an end, so we're not going to be scared of him no more. A lot of, like Keefe, like the people from Bad Boys, that Cassie and all of them, at first they were scared that Diddy was going to be able to find a way to silence them. They didn't want to speak out because they thought something would happen to them, just like it happened to Biggie Smalls, Tupac, Kim Porter, Cassie. And so they held on to it for years and years, until now they realize that, okay, so since Keefe already spoke about the Tupac, and Gene Deal was really the one who's been trying to tell everybody for years and years and years, for the last 15 years, he's been basically breaking down how Diddy was doing all of this stuff to all of these people, and he had the evidence. He's been there listening to the conversations. He heard the meetings and everything. He was his security guard and his bodyguard, and so that's the guy that knows pretty much the most. He knows Keefe. He's seen Kim Porter in the house. He's seen Cassie in the house and Biggie Smalls in the studio. And since Gene Deal's been coming out and speaking against it, he was the only one that wasn't scared of Diddy. Something happened between Gene Deal and Diddy to where they were no longer friends, and they were Gene Deal didn't want to be his security guard and his bodyguard no more. So he upped and left, and then he started basically showing everybody what Diddy's been doing this whole entire time. And then that's what got a lot of people hip to the fact that it was a lot more to these stories than they were being led to believe, man. And then all of a sudden, over the summer, they went and raided Keefe house, and they must have got some more info. They were watching the Vlad interviews. They were watching Art of the Dialogue. They were basically paying attention to what Gene Deal was saying. And once Keefe actually mentioned the fact that he's the one that passed the strap to the back seat, and that he had communication with Diddy about how it was supposed to be $1 million sent and everything like that. Once they heard that, and then Gene Deal confirmed the story by saying that, yeah, he said if Biggie or Pac got to get taken out, he don't care. And so this is what made them realize that they basically had the information now to go after Diddy. And after all these years now, a lot of people are thinking that this is what he deserves. They think Diddy's getting what he deserves. A lot of people were saying, did he do it? And then now they finding out that if he paid the $30 million and he paid all the money from these allegations, then he had to have done something. It had to be true because he wasn't fighting back and denying none of it. And so this is what made them think, okay, this is basically where is leading to the point that they have to basically do the whole raid on Diddy. They have to do the Fed sweep. They got to make sure to get everything together, including the security footage from inside the Diddy mansion to show like how he was treating Cassie and everything like that. Gene Deal told them exactly where to look for everything. And then Mike Tyson and 50 Cent, they're coming back and they're speaking to the families and the victims, and they putting the storylines together so that they could get the justice for everybody. So at the end of the day, people got to realize that this whole thing is basically one big revolving door, and we got to keep paying attention to what's going on around the Diddy situation. So make sure you stay subscribed, and I'm going to catch y'all later.